There is an undeniable truth we often overlook in our eagerness to serve others. Before one can give, one must first receive. Before one can strengthen, one must first be made strong. And before one can heal another, one must first be healed. Imagine, if you will, a physician who tends to the sick while being gravely ill himself. His intentions may be noble, yet his ability to bring healing is hindered by his own suffering. He stumbles, his hands unsteady, his judgment clouded. Such is the condition of one who rushes to mend the wounds of others while their own soul remains fractured. Healing is not a selfish act. It is a necessary preparation. Only when our own vessel is full can we pour into others without depletion. When we have walked through the valley of healing, we can lead others through it with certainty, not as blind guides, but as those who have seen the light ahead. Let us not mistake haste for faithfulness. The good we wish to do for others must be rooted in a place of spiritual and emotional wholeness. A strong foundation will bear the weight of many, while a fractured one will crumble under the burden. So, if you find yourself in a season of struggle, do not despise it. See it as an opportunity for God to do His refining work within you. The time will come when you will lift others, but let it be in the strength of your healing, not in the desperation of your wounds. A wounded soldier, no matter how brave, cannot fight effectively. His spirit may be willing, but his body is weak. His steps falter, his hands tremble, and his vision blurs. Though his heart desires to press on, his injuries demand attention first. In the same way, a soul burdened with its own wounds cannot truly uplift others. The desire to help is admirable, but without first tending to personal healing, the efforts may prove more harmful than helpful. Many people rush to serve others while neglecting their own restoration. They believe that self-care is selfish, that their pain is insignificant in comparison to the needs of those around them. Yet there is great wisdom in recognizing that healing must come first. One cannot give what one does not have. A person struggling under the weight of their own wounds cannot provide genuine strength to another. The attempt may seem noble, but the reality is that unhealed wounds often bleed onto those they are meant to help. Consider the example of a guide leading others through a treacherous mountain path. If the guide himself is injured, his ability to lead is compromised. His weakened state causes missteps, his exhaustion dulls his awareness, and his pain distracts him from the dangers ahead. Those who follow him are at risk not because of his lack of care, but because his own condition prevents him providing the security they need. In the same way, those who attempt to counsel, comfort, or carry others while ignoring their own brokenness may unintentionally lead them astray. God, in His infinite wisdom, does not call us to sacrifice our well-being for the sake of others. He calls us to be made whole so that we may serve from a place of strength. Healing is not a delay to purpose. It is preparation for it. Many fear that if they pause to heal, they will lose their opportunity to help others. Yet the opposite is true. Healing equips a person to serve in ways they never could, while still entangled in their own struggles. There is no shame in stepping back to heal. It is not a sign of weakness but of wisdom. To recognize that one needs restoration is the first step toward true strength. God does not rush healing. He does not demand that the broken pretend to be whole. Instead, He invites them to rest, to be renewed, and to be restored. Just as a tree must first grow deep roots before it can bear fruit, a person must first be made whole before they can truly nourish others. Some may argue that their pain gives them empathy, that their brokenness makes them more relatable, While there is truth in the idea that struggles can birth compassion, it is important to distinguish between understanding pain and being consumed by it. A person still drowning cannot rescue another without pulling both down. However, one who has already reached the shore can extend a steady hand to lift another out. The most effective helpers are not those who are still battling their own wounds, but those who have walked through healing and can now guide others. Healing is not about forgetting the past, but about overcoming it. It is about transforming wounds into wisdom, pain into purpose. When a person has walked the road of healing, they do not speak from theory, but from experience. Their counsel is not merely well-intended words, but a testimony of victory. They do not simply sympathize, they offer real hope, proving that healing is possible because they have lived it. One must first be whole. Healing is not a selfish endeavor, but a necessary foundation. Without it, efforts to help may be well-meaning, but ineffective, and sometimes even harmful. The call to serve is great, but the call to be healed first is greater. Those who allow themselves to be restored will find that when the time comes to help others, they will do so not from a place of depletion, but from a place of abundance. Then, and that is when their help will truly make a difference. A river cannot nourish the land if it runs dry. A lamp cannot give light if it has no oil. And a person cannot truly help others if they themselves are empty. This is the principle of overflow. They must first receive before they can give. First be filled before they can pour into others. Too often, people attempt to serve from a place of exhaustion, hoping that sheer willpower will sustain them. But in doing so, they risk not only their own well-being, but also the well-being of those they intend to help. God does not call his people to live in constant depletion. He is a God of abundance, not scarcity. He desires that those who serve do so from a place of fullness, not desperation. Yet many believe that the highest form of sacrifice is to give even when they have nothing left. They push themselves beyond their limits, believing that their suffering is proof of their devotion. But this is not the way God intended. True service does not come from self-neglect, but from being so filled with God's presence, wisdom, and healing that one cannot help but overflow into the lives of others. If a person draws water from it constantly, without ever replenishing it, the well will eventually run dry. The water will become murky, and soon there will be nothing left to give. The same happens to a person who continually gives without taking time to be renewed. Their words lose clarity, their guidance becomes uncertain, and their strength fades. The very people they wish to help may find themselves receiving from a source that is no longer pure. What was once refreshing becomes bitter, not because the giver lacks love, but because they have not taken the time to refill what has been poured out. Receiving is not selfish, it is essential. Even Jesus, the perfect example of service, withdrew to pray, to rest, and to be in communion with the Father. He did not constantly pour himself out without first being filled. If the Son of God saw the necessity of receiving before giving, how much more should his followers do the same? There is wisdom in stepping back, in taking time to be replenished, in allowing God to fill what has been emptied. It is in these moments of renewal that true strength is found. Some believe that they can help others even when they are broken themselves. While their intentions may be pure, they fail to recognize that healing must come first. A wounded healer may unintentionally project their pain onto those they wish to mend. A person struggling with unresolved hurt may pass on that hurt instead of healing. Just as a cup filled with bitter water cannot pour out sweetness, a heart still burdened with pain may struggle to offer truly help others. One must first be whole. not perfect, but whole, not without struggles, but rooted in strength. The strongest helpers are those who have allowed themselves to be filled first. They have taken the time to be restored, and as a result, they can now restore others. They give not out of duty, but out of abundance. Their help does not drain them, it energizes them. Their wisdom does not come from a place of uncertainty, but from a foundation of truth. This is the way God intended. He does not ask for empty vessels to pour into others. He asks that they first be filled, that they first receive, that they first allow Him to heal and strengthen them. Only then can they pour into others without fear of running dry. Only then can they truly be a source of life, of wisdom, and of healing. When one serves from a place of overflow, their help becomes not just temporary relief, but lasting transformation. A builder does not construct a house on unstable ground, nor does a warrior enter battle without armor. Preparation is key to success in any endeavor, and this is especially true when it comes to helping others. Before one can truly guide, support, or heal another, they must first be spiritually and emotionally prepared. Without this foundation, even the best intentions can lead to failure, exhaustion, or even harm. God, in His wisdom, calls His people to a season of preparation before they step into a role of service. He desires that they be whole, strong, and equipped, not only for their own sake, but for the sake of those they will serve. There is a temptation to rush into helping others, believing that passion alone is enough. While passion is valuable, it must be accompanied by wisdom. A person who has not yet healed from their own wounds may be quick to offer advice that is shaped more by their pain than by truth. They may speak from their struggles rather than from their victory. While their words may be well-intended, they can sometimes do more harm than good if they are not rooted in clarity and discernment. A person who is still in the midst of their own healing journey is vulnerable. They may project their emotions onto others, misinterpret situations through the lens of their own pain, or become overwhelmed by the burdens they take on. Just as a doctor must be trained and strong enough to perform surgery without becoming faint, one must be spiritually and emotionally steady before taking on the responsibility of guiding others. Otherwise, they risk being weighed down by the struggles of those they seek to help, leading to burnout, discouragement. God does not even rush preparation. He does not thrust His people into positions of influence before they are ready. In the Bible, He often took years to prepare those He called for great tasks. Joseph spent years in hardship before becoming a leader. Moses endured a long season of solitude before he was ready to lead Israel. Even Jesus spent time in the wilderness before stepping into His public ministry. These examples are not coincidences. They are patterns that reveal a divine truth. God refines before He releases. He strengthens before He sends. He heals before He calls His people to heal others. It is not a delay, but a gift. Some may see the season of preparation as a time of waiting, a pause before they can truly make an impact. But in reality, it is one of the most important stages of their journey. This is the time when character is built, wisdom is gained, and endurance is developed. This is when a person learns not just how to help, but how to help effectively. They learn to discern between emotional reactions and true guidance. They learn to set healthy boundaries, so they can serve without becoming drained. They learn to lead from a place of strength, rather than from desperation. Spiritually and emotionally prepared, their help becomes transformative. They do not carry the burdens of others in a way that crushes them. They know how to give without losing themselves. They do not become overwhelmed by the struggles they encounter, because they have already faced and overcome their own. They offer wisdom that is not just theory, but is tested and true. Helping others is a noble calling, but it is also a great responsibility. It requires more than good intentions. It requires preparation. Those who take the time to be healed, to grow, and to be strengthened will find that when they do step into their calling, they are able to serve with endurance, clarity, and wisdom. They will not be shaken by the difficulties they face, nor will they be discouraged when the road is long. Instead, they will stand firm, knowing they are not just offering temporary relief, but this is why God calls his people to heal before they help. Not to hold them back, but to prepare them for something greater. Not to delay their purpose, but to equip them so they can fulfill it fully. When the time comes, they will not only help others, they will lead, strengthen, and uplift with wisdom, with endurance, and with the unshakable strength that comes from being truly whole.